More than 14 and a half years have passed since Mary Jane Veloso was allegedly and wrongfully accused of narcotics possession with intent to distribute in Indonesia, where she has since served time over draconian laws on illegal drugs. With a change in leadership and after 10 years of relentless negotiations by the DFA for her release, the president has kept her in mind not only during last year's APEC summit in May, but even more in his talks with Indonesia's newly minted head of state. PTV's Kenneth Paciente reports.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has announced Mary Jane Veloso will finally return to the Philippines after 15 years of serving time in Indonesia. In a statement, the president explained this welcome development was the result of over 10 years of diplomacy and consultations with the Indonesian government. He said this led to the delay of Veloso's execution until an agreement was reached to return her to the Philippines, although no final date has been set yet. According to the president, Mary Jane faced a long and challenging struggle since her arrest in 2010. The president also emphasized that Mary Jane's story represents many people who are victims of poverty, forced to make desperate decisions that alter their lives. Even though she was proven guilty, the president asserted that Veloso is also a victim of her circumstances. The chief executive thanked Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto for showing kindness that paved the way for Veloso's return to the Philippines. In the 42nd ASEAN Summit in Indonesia last year, the president raised the issue as one of the talking points in his summit agenda.
I always at least bring it up na baka sakali magbago. Sa ngayon, ganun ang mga posisyon natin. Is that yes, we agree, we understand that he is convicted. We understand that the law in Indonesia is that way. But nonetheless, baka makahanap tayo ng paraan. Iuwi na lang namin yan. Kami na magpaparusa sa kanya, whatever. But anyway, to ask for clemency, to ask for grace.
Following this development on Mary Jane's case, the Philippine government patiently awaits the official response of the Indonesian government to the request for Veloso's transfer to the country. As such or that said, is she ultimately spared from execution?
Clearly, if they transfer, this is an indication that they know that kahit na may jurisdiction sila, there will be no more execution because we hold the physical custody.
Once Veloso returns to the Philippines, she will resume serving the remainder of her sentence here. Although there is no specific location yet for her detention, one of the options being considered by the government is the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City. De Vega clarified the Indonesian government did not ask for anything in return. As for granting clemency to Veloso, it is certainly an option that President Marcos Jr. may grant depending on final agreements between the two sides.
Alam na ng Indonesia that we always raise this, always. And now, meron pang bagong presidente, bagong pangulo ang Indonesia, a good friend of our president. Certainly, we will initiate it as soon as possible. Nabanggit na gusto ng family mapalaya na right away. So obviously, we can't do it within 24 hours na dumating siya dito. But, well, hopefully, we don't have to, I mentioned kaya, we don't have to wait years or even 1 year bago mapalaya siya.
From PTV Manila, Kenneth Paciente, Balitang Pambansa.